Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into source material that is completely gonna flick everything you thought you knew about consumer behavior right on its head. Usually we figure marketing gets to us through, screens, billboards, the algorithm, but only once we're actually old enough to pay attention. But what if the starting line for brand loyalty is drawn much, much earlier? Get ready because the text we're analyzing today lays out the completely wild, almost sci-fi reality of prenatal persuasion. Yeah, we're talking about marketing directly to the womb. The sheer scale of what this means literally turns human development into a commercial opportunity.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Think about your own life for just a second. When did you actually form your very first brand preference? Was it maybe some super sugary cereal from when you were like 5? Or a specific toy you begged for after seeing a flashy commercial? We naturally assume our buying habits start the second we can point at a store shelf, right? Well, the source material we're unpacking today challenges that fundamental assumption down to its absolute core. It asks us to rewind the clock. Not just back to infancy, not just to your first birthday, but all the way back to before you even took your first breath. It pushes the timeline of consumerism so far back that it literally predates conscious thought itself.
And the source material makes this incredibly bold, honestly kind of startling claim. It explicitly argues, marketing starts at womb. That's a direct quote. The text claims that human beings start forming purchase preferences before we are even born. Let's just sit with the gravity of that for a second. Analytically speaking, this completely shifts the entire timeline of consumerism. It suggests the ultimate strategy isn't about waiting for a demographic to grow up and get a credit card. No, it's about claiming real estate in a mind that hasn't even physically entered the world yet. It looks at gestation not just as this untouchable biological process, but as the very first chance for brand integration. It's treating the earliest phase of human life as a totally viable target market.
So, the crucial point is how the text defines this whole concept. It calls it prenatal persuasion, which is the process of forming human purchase preferences before birth. The source establishes this fascinating premise. Our consumer identities are absolutely not a blank slate the moment we're born. Instead, the groundwork for what we might eventually buy or like or trust, it's reportedly already being laid down during gestation. This fundamentally redefines who the earliest target audience actually is for advertisers. If persuasion really begins before birth, then the whole idea of reaching consumers early has to be radically recalibrated. We aren't just talking about marketing to kids anymore. We're talking about embedding preferences into the developing neural pathways of an unborn child.
Now, you might logically be wondering, how on earth does this actually work in practice? Well, the text grounds its marketing theory in a pretty straightforward biological reality. The womb is not a completely soundproof vault. While in gestation, a fetus can actively perceive sounds from the outside world. This auditory permeability is the absolutely critical first gateway. Without the ability to hear external stimuli, any concept of prenatal marketing would be functionally impossible, right? But because sound actually travels through, that door for influence is left wide open. The source takes this basic physiological fact that a fetus develops hearing and identifies it as the primary channel for external brand messaging to basically breach the biological barrier.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how they try to exploit that auditory gateway. The text outlines this very specific, step-by-step chain reaction of emotional transfer. Okay, picture this. Imagine a mother going about her day, and she hears a specific tune. Let's say it's a catchy commercial jingle or a brand's theme song. That's step one. Now, if she happens to like that tune, she naturally experiences positive emotions. That's step two. Here is where the source makes its absolutely crucial connection. Because the fetus can perceive those external sounds, it physically hears that specific jingle. But, and this is the big but, it also shares the chemical and biological positive emotions the mother is experiencing. The biology facilitates a direct emotional transfer. So the text concludes that through this simultaneous, shared experience of sound and emotion, a prenatal purchase preference is officially formed. It's presented as a direct mechanical cause and effect sequence leading straight to early consumer loyalty.
So notice the really distinct interplay here between the physical and the emotional. The text makes it incredibly clear that just playing some random sound at a pregnant mother isn't going to be nearly enough to secure a preference. The magic ingredient, the actual catalyst for this persuasion, is the mother's positive reaction. The external tune is really just the physical trigger, but the shared positive emotion, that acts as the glue. That emotion is what permanently binds that specific sound to a good feeling within the developing fetus. It's a highly targeted, dual-layered approach to reaching the unborn mind. Marketers aren't just broadcasting noise, according to the text. They are literally relying on the mother's own internal emotional response to act as the ultimate brand ambassador.
And here is where the whole concept moves from being just a fascinating biological observation to a deliberate, organized corporate strategy. The text we're analyzing today isn't some passive scientific paper just describing nature. No, it is actual instructional material. The source explicitly states, and I quote, "This module provides marketing on how to start to sell even at the womb." Let that really sink in for a moment. It is actively teaching this biological and emotional phenomenon as an actionable, strategic tool for marketers to deploy. It frames prenatal development not just as this vital period of human growth, but as an active, exploitable window for commercial influence. It is a really striking transition from simply studying biology to actively utilizing it for commerce, literally turning the physiological link between mother and child into a measurable marketing channel.
Which brings us to a profound stopping point for today's explainer. So what does this all actually mean? If preferences truly form before birth, where exactly does marketing end and free will begin? Based strictly on the text we've unpacked today, if our earliest positive associations with a tune, a brand, or a specific product are essentially hardwired into us through shared emotions while we're still in the womb, how much of our future consumer choices ever truly our own? Are we actually making independent decisions in the grocery store aisle, or are we just echoing a commercial jingle we internalized before we even had a conscious mind? I'll leave you to ponder the deep, honestly, almost philosophical implications of prenatal marketing on our personal autonomy. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack the source material, and as always, keep asking the big questions.